If you've been studying for the LSAT for months and you feel like your practice test scores are plateauing, you're stuck in a rut, and you're looking for the big breakthrough strategy that will unlock the secrets of the LSAT for you, this video is for you. Today, I'm going to share with you a bit of my LSAT journey back when I was studying for the LSAT, some mistakes I made, the before and the after, and everything in between, what brought my scores from a 152 to a 175 on the day of the LSAT itself. Like a lot of students, I was under the misconception that just taking test after test after test would magically unlock the secrets of the LSAT and lead to a big breakthrough in my scores. In reality, I was just burning through valuable practice material and nothing was really changing for me. For the longest time, my scores were actually stuck in the low 150s, and they remained there for several months. I was tracking my prep test scores in spreadsheets. I'd see the scores go up, I'd be thrilled. I'd see them go down, I'd be devastated. But overall, they tended to hover around the low 150 mark. I was reading LSAT prep textbooks, I was reading explanations, and none of it was really clicking for me. Until I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to try writing out my own explanations to see if the process of doing that is going to change something for me. And sure enough, it did. I stopped looking at explanations. I stopped Googling LSAT questions. I stopped using explanation books I was finding online. Instead, I started writing out my thought process. And this changed the nature of my prep in ways I could not even have predicted at the time. Because what it did for me is it allowed me to stop using other people's reasoning as a crutch in lieu of my own understanding. So when I started writing out my own thought process, that was the key that led me to engage with the LSAT practice material on a deeper level. The problem with copying others is that it might help you with your understanding of that particular question, but it won't necessarily carry over to a new LSAT question on the next prep test. And of course, it won't carry over to the real test day exam itself. It's going to be limited in scope, most likely to just that one individual question, but obviously they've already given that question, they've already administered that exam, they're not going to give it again. They might dress up the reasoning in disguise, but will you spot the disguise and be able to unravel it to uncover the core reasoning underlying that question? So for me, writing out my thought process, articulating my understanding of the question, both my initial mistaken understanding and then my new, better understanding upon reflection, that's what helped me increase my scores significantly, ultimately into the 170s, because I got a better understanding of what the test makers were actually doing. What were the tricks and traps they were laying for me in those particular questions that were giving me trouble. And so this idea of writing out my thought process, writing out my own explanations, ultimately was the seed that later became what was known as the Socratic review method. It's the cornerstone of my LSAT prep courses and my one-on-one coaching program. And the idea here is that we help you, the student, walk through a series of guiding questions. We prompt you to answer these questions for yourself based on your initial mistaken understanding of a question. And then upon reflection, you have your new improved understanding. So you're looking at what was tempting about a particular wrong answer choice that made you pick it, and what ultimately makes it wrong, and what was unappealing about the right answer choice that pushed you away from it, and what ultimately makes it correct. So you have these traps of encouragement towards the wrong answer, and these traps of discouragement pushing you away from the right answer. And until you understand which tricks and traps you are uniquely prone to falling for, you can't help but avoid making the same mistakes again. And so this was the case for me, where I was doing exam after exam, but I just kept falling for the same mistakes again and again, kind of like how Lucy pulls the football out from Charlie Brown every single time, and every single time he keeps falling for it. He doesn't learn from his mistakes, and so he's doomed to repeat them. Same thing on the LSAT. The LSAT test makers keep pulling the same tricks on the test takers, and we keep falling for them if we don't learn from our mistakes, if we recognize, okay, this is the point at which we went in the wrong direction. So now next time when we see a similar circumstance, we'll know to be careful to avoid falling into that trap. So for example, a tempting wrong answer choice might exploit your mistaken conversion or translation of a contrapositive. And there are countless examples like it. That's just one, but until you properly know how to do the contrapositive, you may fall into that trap again and again and again. This is just one example of many. There are far more I can show you inside the LSAT Unplugged Prep course, where we have live online classes via Zoom, on-demand video courses, small group coaching, and one-on-one coaching. You can check out the links below this video to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. We'd be glad to help you out. And in the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.